1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly, Payless, and Allsup too. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oakland, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
Did you know I have a sports book now?
You have a sports book?
Yeah. Sox in the
book
Basement
about
has its own
sports?
sports book thing set up. You go in, you sign up for it at soxinthebasement.com, and then every time somebody signs up, I make money, and they bet. Think of how the gambling racket works. No, honestly, I'm going to tell you this.
What's the over-under on how many listeners laugh?
One.
Think about
1.5.
Think about the way the gambling racket works. So you go to my site on soxinthebasement.com, right? And you sign up for FanDuel or MGM or one of these things, right?
How much do you get?
When you sign up, you have to deposit like $5 or $20 or whatever. And when you do it, they're going to tell you, after you deposit your $20 and you sign up, we're going to give you $200 in bonus bets after you make the first bet. And so they give you $200 in extra money to use, even if you lose that $20 to try to make another bet or as many bets as you want to, right? Okay, so they're giving away money is what they're doing.
Bets. They're giving away bets.
They're giving away bets.
It's not real money.
No, they're
It's
giving
like
away bets, but I mean, if you
dollars.
win, like I used one of the bonus bets things after I signed up for it, I actually
Everything
ended up
on the
with money.
Bears.
Yeah. Now here's the thing.
to lose.
Then after they do that, they give me money.
How much?
Well, it depends on how many people sign up a
And
month,
how
but
much-
I can make up
and
to
how much they
$100 a
lose.
sign up.
Wow.
So think about the money they're giving away just to get you in there. And then after you get in there, they know you're going to spend a ton of money and you'll probably lose your money. So that's what they're going to do. Now I'm up because
Why
they
don't you
gave
just
me
pay people $5 a piece to sign up so you get $100?
Exactly. I think I'm going to start doing that. Do you want to do it? I'll
do
pay
it.
you to do it.
Yeah,
It'll be
give me
great.
$5. I'll
So
put it
here's the
on
thing. Here's the thing.
Do I have to bet after that?
They
or no?
gave me $120, this company, to spread it out over the 6 different things in our sports book. So I had my own accounts. Then they told me, go ahead and bet so you could talk about it. I was like, all right, fine. I won 2 of the bets, lost the other ones, but it wasn't my money, right? One of them I won on a parlay. I won like $300.
Parlays, that's your
so
best
now
chance.
I'm playing with money that wasn't even my money. I'm up like $500 right now.
That's how they get you.
I cashed out. No, I cashed out 400 over it and put it in the bank. So I took their 120 to go try the thing out, put 400 in the bank, and I'm just playing around with the other $100, and it never cost me a thing. It's hysterical. I mean, I'm like this whole gambling thing. Like I lived in Reno. And I realized right away that you have to be really selective with your bets. And sometimes you have to say, I don't like any of these NFL games. I'll wait till next week. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And if you do that and you're smart, you could win. Like I won on a couple weeks back. I won on Houston over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Texans over Steelers.
It was a huge game.
Yeah.
What city do the Texans play in?
Houston. It's right over by Alice.
I hate you
That's
so
the
much.
apple of X's, isn't it?
I literally hate you.
But I want to know about this bet now, Chris.
No, I don't want to talk to you anymore now. You're being a jerk.
Houston started it.
Yeah, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're both jerks. Nobody likes you. Southside Pod, of course, brought to you by Family Waterproofing Solutions, named one of the Southland's best now for 3 years in a row. Bowing walls, window wells, foundation crack repair, anything that keeps water out of your basement and protects your foundation. It is that time of year. There are leaves in the gutters. Gutter cleaning service is one of the many services you can sign up for with Express Service, now available online at familydry.com. Know what you want? See the cost right on the website. Order and schedule on-site immediately for quick service. Your basement's best defense is at familydry.com.
A pitcher of beer, a pitcher of beer. Let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
We're at Soundgrowler Brewing in Tinley Park. I'll be honest with you, John Streetz. of the Streets Arts Alliance. I've been here once or twice before, but I feel like I'm always here in the wintertime. I don't know how I never ended up in the back, like outside on one of the patios on a beautiful fall day. I'm welcome.
Well, thank you.
Welcoming myself here.
Well,
you're holding the event. I'm just here.
Yeah, I'm the curator, but
Right.
I'm also a drinker and a participant of the whole event. Technically, we are supposed to be in winter.
Yeah, we are.
This is winter, and this is the nicest winter day we could ever expect in November. You know what I
It
mean?
worked out well for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I would have had artists outside if I would have realized that it was
Yeah.
going to be this nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful out.
Yeah,
and you're doing a vinyl market. This is a new one for you. Like generally, you're a guy who does, I don't know, like dark arts, freaky weird things. Sometimes like some straight up craft shows. But vinyl market, that caught my eye because I was like, well, that's something new. I just imagine a bunch of people just hunkered over like boxes of records. It's not exactly that. You have a few setups where it's just boxes of records, but what makes this one different from like the normal markets you do around?
So this is 100% different than any of the markets that I've ever done. I've never once done a vinyl market before. And one of the things I noticed about this market in particular is that the vinyl searchers, the people that love the records and the vinyls. By the way, random aside, I got called a whippersnapper on Patch because I called them vinyl.
That's because everybody on the Patch is 104 years old.
I don't know about that. Come on, I advertise on them. That's not so.
They run our show on there too, so I'm just joking around.
Oh, I know. But, it's one of the things is there's a line of 20 people that was waiting outside to enter this event because they wanted to search through those vinyl boxes.
People were lined up in advance.
Yeah, 20 people at least.
And what's funny is you have to think about it this way, that like they know they're coming in for records, but they don't know what records there are. They just want to get there and have first pick of them in case there's something good there. And it's like they must know what they're collecting. Like it's not like they have like, I got to get the White Album by the Beatles. I'm sure that's not at this market, right? Like I'm sure that isn't here. But I mean, it's not like they have something specific they know is going to be here. They just want to have first pick.
100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but the really cool thing is I think 2 or 3 of the vendors that we have today that are selling just the records and the vinyl, they were here. Soundgrowler hosted their own market either a year or 2 years ago. I wasn't a part of it, so I don't know the exact details. But some of these artists are returning, and they're bringing new stuff, more metal, more punk, more this, more that, trying to appease the potential customers that they're going to have for today.
Yeah.
And I've talked
that's what this is kind of here. Soundgrowler is a metal brewery. That's how I would describe them. This is a metal punk brewery, like the music selection, the way that
punk.
It's set up. You don't think punk?
I don't know. I know punk is really Soundgrowler, but I don't work for Soundgrowler.
Yeah,
it's just my interpretation of it. I'm a kind of a punk guy myself, loving No Effects. Like if I can get a No Effects record, I might get a record player.
Yeah.
Just because I love No Effects that much. But I've always interpreted them as purely metal.
Yeah, they are definitely metal.
Yeah.
When you walk in, I feel metal.
But I think they're also kind of new age.
Definitely
where they
guitar
bring
based.
Yeah. Exactly.
Somebody's definitely banging on some drums.
They bring in some of the younger crowd that likes some of the more punk or the more alternative metal, the more whatever, pop.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you could just pick it out when you look at like the clientele when they walk in here. Okay?
100%.
I don't feel very cool, right? Like I walk in.
I mean, you are old.
I don't feel cool walking in here. I'm like, there are some cool people inside of this place. That's for
100%.
sure. Yeah. So it's not just records though. I'm noticing that there's like some clothing that's in there, some different how do you curate this? Because that's the thing we've talked about on the show before. You set up these markets, but then you're deciding like which vendors do I want to have there? Like how did you curate this? What was your thought process?
So I basically in the application I put out there was this is going to be a music themed vinyl market. The primary goal of this is to have 5 to 7 vinyl vendors that are selling just the vinyl records, and then have a mix of artists that can kind of fit that theme. Jonathan Grimm art, Bologna Doodles, Lucky Eye Inc. These are all artists that make stuff nonstop and can totally fit that theme. Lucky Eye Inc. has these keyboards that have sexy legs. Jonathan Grimm is doing tabs of music sheets where he draws the artist from the band as an original. And then you've got John Bologna and his wife that are doing very music artist themed artwork.
Right.
All of that kind of really blends well with the vinyl theme of the market. And that's what I was looking for. Even like the candy vendors, KP's Candy Factory. She made these, she got some molds where she could do some musically noted things like the treble clef or the bass clef, kind of formed into some chocolate-covered Rice Krispie treats on a stick. All of this kind of goes hand in hand with just a nice music theme, vinyl theme.
Well, I think the place you picked, the brewery you picked, makes a lot of sense because they have. When I walk in here, I always can hear the music. It's very distinct what they do. They're artists. They like music, and then you're doing something that's very music based when you're doing it. And I'll let everybody in on this. John was telling me beforehand. He was like, "This thing's really blown up today. It's the first time I've done it." You were like really pleasantly surprised by the amount of people that are here. But I mean, I think people get into music. Like, you couldn't help yourself to tell me that you're a NoFX fan.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I'm a NoFX fan. That's what I do. Like that's what I do. I listen to NoFX, right? You're like me when I sit there and I'm like, well, Weezer's here. I'm going to go see him. I like the older stuff better than newer stuff, but I'm going to go see him, right? Like, we all have like our acts.
Exactly.
And I think that's why this kind of thing resonates with people because, like, you get to go out and geek out and look for stuff that, like, you're into, right? I mean, we can hear the song a million times, but if I can get some kind of cool piece of artwork about a band that I love and put it in, like, my man cave, my bar, wherever I'm putting it, this is the kind of place where you're going to find it. And then people get to listen to music, check out music, drink some beer, eat some tacos. It's a home run.
It's a win-win as far as I'm concerned.
John is really maybe one of the luckiest guys on the South Side. He is. Like, you started doing these things, and you started doing these, and now all of a sudden you're like at a brewery like every weekend, sometimes 2 different breweries in a weekend, and you have these festivals, and you walk around with your shirts, your very loud Hawaiian shirts, and your tie-dye and stuff like that, and your jewelry that you have around you, and you drink beer, and you schmooze with people.
I mean,
and you run these things, and I think like, seriously, like, I was telling my daughter before I sat down, I'm like, this guy literally found the greatest job on the South Side. He made it for himself.
When you put it that way, You're right.
Yeah.
I am the luckiest guy in the South Side. And I don't necessarily want to say this on your podcast, but I'm not from the South Side.
That's
I'm
ridiculous.
from
Get
Villa
out.
Park, Illinois.
Get out.
Like, I probably shouldn't mention that, but I am. But I'm super lucky to be able to work with, like, Hailstorm and Flipside and Soundgrowler to be able to do
You
these
do so
kinds
well
of things.
with the ones that are definitely south.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about moving to Blue Island. Or maybe Tinley Park, or maybe Orland Park.
Blue
Island.
Island.
Evergreen Park.
I'm an evergreen, so you're messing with me. But
I am,
Blue
yeah.
Island is like, those people out there, like, that's a fun place. Like, if I were looking for a place to live, I'd be exploring Blue Island just because it's just so eclectic and there's so much stuff that's going on there.
Oh, yeah.
Tinley's got a great brewery scene. So I love this area around here. Like, you could really just get yourself lost in all the restaurants and the breweries and stuff like that. There's a couple of neighborhoods, like, I've actually checked off, and I'm like, if I left Evergreen, these would be on my list of places I'd be going to.
On a completely random aside, I finally got a chance to
Get
check
random
out...
with me. We got a beer. We're sitting outside. It's a beautiful November day.
Cheers to that. Amen.
What do you got?
I finally got the chance to check out Bangin' Gavel in Tinley Park.
Okay, yeah.
That is the 4th brewery in Tinley Park.
Yeah.
And, I know that they had kind of a very soft opening where they just had some outdoor stuff going on for a while. But one of the bartenders over at Flipside, I was there earlier in the week. He said, yeah, you can definitely check out Bangin' Gavel tonight. And they were open till 10, so I figured I'd swing over there and check it out.
I might go check that out. I got to see them in Evergreen Park a year ago. He was at a table for a beer fest that the library was putting on, and he didn't have a physical space yet.
Oh.
Basically. Like, he was, like, just starting. And I was like, I'm rooting for this guy.
So, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, but they're in the Vout House?
Okay.
It's right by the railroad tracks in Tinley Park. And super classy.
Really?
Inside.
All right.
The bartenders were super attentive, super pleasant. It made me feel like I was in a 5-star restaurant.
Okay.
Being inside there, I only had time for one beer, which right now they don't have any beers on tap. They just have guest beers. And it was just nice to be in there and checking out the scene. When I walked in on a Thursday night, it was packed. At least the bar area was packed. And that's a place I definitely want to check out again and maybe try some of their food items if I can come a little earlier.
There you go.
But to any of the Southsiders out there, I'd highly recommend checking out Bangin' Gavel.
I think John Streetz also wants to have an artisan market at Bangin' Gavel with that.
Yes.
Like, he's working it right now. He's like, I'm going to talk about Bangin' Gavel, and then I'm going to tell him, like, hey, I was on Southside Pod talking about you. Let's do a market there. I can see it. I know what you're doing.
I'm a man of opportunity, I like all the opportunities, and that, Wouldn't it be wild to have, 4 shows in one weekend at all 4 breweries in Tinley Park?
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. You know what I think we should do? Here's what I think we should do.
Oh, no.
Let's do an artisan market, 4 different breweries in Tinley Park, and then let's have a Southside Pod bus that brings people around on the bus, and we'll do it together.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Now we just have to get all 4 breweries on board with that.
Yeah, I think we can get them.
I would host that.
I think we can get them.
It'd have to be in 2024 sometime.
That's fine.
I'm not going
for
the rest of the year.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do.
But
yeah.
No, I'll talk to my people.
All right, you talk to your people. I'll talk to my people. John Streetz has all these great artisan markets, and I literally just called him today, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the thing at Soundgrowler. Do you want to talk? I can bang out some content. We'll just have a beer together and talk about the vinyl market. I'm guessing you'll do another vinyl market after you saw this thing.
If they'll let me.
What else do you have coming up though? You got Krampus.
So
you got the Krampus market coming up in Blue Island. I know in a couple of weeks.
12-10 at Blue Island Beer Company. I've got the Krampus market.
Krampus. We had this conversation last year.
We did. And I still think it's Krampus.
It's probably Krampus.
Even though it's probably Krampus, but who cares? So that's 12-10 at Blue Island. I want to say this year is 12-6.
Yeah.
Other Southside shows I've got include...
You got a Hailstorm one coming up here.
Yeah, Hailstorm on 11-12.
Yeah.
Their
Great brewery.
Winter version of their Flurry Market. We did a complete rebrand on the marketing, so I've got some great stuff in the event page on Facebook if anyone wants to check it out.
They got a brand new Belgian over there. It's like 10%. It's spectacular.
You like the high...
do.
You should be at Fobab right now.
Yeah, maybe I should be.
It's only today and yesterday.
I am my 17-year-old designated driver today. I'm just going to have her drive me to breweries. We were going to go to Costco, but now you're talking about all these breweries in the area. I think I'm just going to have her drive me around.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have that, but, I've got all this. But the Fobab, I got the opportunity to check out Fobab yesterday. Never been there before, but it's all the high-gravity barrel-aged beer. It's the Fobab stands for the Festival of Barrel-Aged Beer.
Yeah.
And it's a magical event.
You're telling me that this is where I need to plan to go next year?
100%.
Okay, where is this at?
This is at the Credit One Theater or...
Amphitheater?
Whatever it's called in Chicago.
Okay.
I had to resist to try all the amazing... high-gravity beers they had.
That's when you have to have somebody take you home afterwards.
100%. Or don't drive,
Right.
Find a friend that lives in the area.
Don't drive. If you can't find a ride, curl up in a ball and sleep it off
I'm
at
all
Fobab.
about drinking responsibly.
Right.
And this basically had over 100, I want to say 400 different beers. Don't quote me on that. Different barrel-aged beers from all these different breweries. All across the United States. It's a giant festival, and I think around maybe 2 o'clock today or sometime today they're going to announce the winners in all the different categories that they have. And then each one of those breweries is going to get more excited and more popular after that event because of the wins that they get at that particular event.
Yeah. John Streetz is he's throwing an artisan market, but he's also telling you everything that's going on. Like this guy, he should have his own podcast. I don't even know why I'm here. He should just have his own podcast.
No. I'm an introvert. I can't do the podcast thing.
Yeah, you seem introverted for sure. All right, John Streetz. We're at Soundgrowler. Check out the Streetz Arts Alliance on all the social media. Find out where they're going to be next. We talk about it on Southside Pod. I'll probably see you at Hailstorm. I know I'm going to see you at Krampus.
Oh,
I'm going to be at that.
Yeah.
I love that. Last year, Krampus walked up next to me and
rumor has it Krampus is going to be returning.
Yes.
To join us at that event.
We need to have Krampus there.
A new revived Krampus.
Oh, a different Krampus.
Not a different Krampus, but
scarier Krampus, bigger Krampus.
I don't know.
The real Krampus.
Perhaps the real Krampus.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Prepare yourself for that. Only Blue Island would host the real Krampus. It seems like a logical place.
I don't know if I can agree with that, but it seems like
a logical place where Krampus
it's a great place to be, and you definitely should go.
It is. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Chris.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, How can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. We spoke with a wonderful young lady about a program going on over at the University of Chicago. Their Institute for Population and Precision Health is partnering with the National Cancer Institute to launch the Connect for Cancer Prevention study to help understand what causes cancer and how to prevent it. They need your help. They're looking for participants aged 40 to 65 with no history of cancer. Together, you, them, we can all make a change. Learn more at cancer.gov/connect study and join the University of Chicago in this endeavor. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, I have two gentlemen that have been on this show individually before about two very, very different subject matters. And I find this very cool that they found each other and wrote a book. It is incredible to me. I have Kevin Barron here. He is the guy who's got the Instagram account South Cook Explorer. He's been on the show before. He goes and he explores all these really cool spots all over the South Side. And then I have Jason Barry, who's really the guy that brought us into the village of Lemont and started showing us around a couple of years ago and has been on the show to talk about all the cool things that they do in the village. And you guys combined to write a book called Images of America, Lemont. And I think it's awesome. First of all, welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks, man.
So where does this come from? Where does the idea of this book come from? I mean, when I'm on a podcast and I'm talking a book, it always feels weird because it's audio and nobody can see what's in it. But I will tell you that there are an awful lot of pictures. It looks like it's a very easy read, and it's a historical book on the village of Lemont, which is, a very interesting place because it was along the I&M Canal, so it was bustling, even back in the old days.
Before we tell a story, I'll let Kevin start how we got together on it, but this book did get released this week, so go buy it. It's in stores now, and you could just follow along as we talk. Just imagine, all right?
Stop the podcast for a moment.
Yeah.
And then
listen to an audio
pick up a
right now.
book, because that's what they want you to do today. They want you to get the book because the book just
Turn to
came
page
out
12.
this week. Yeah. And then we're going to read along with you. We'll do an entire podcast companion to the book. And that's what we'll do. Right. How do you guys find each other, first of all?
I want to say that it was we were driving back from something, or we were at an event, and Jason just kind of leans over and goes, we could write one of these books, like regular people write these books. We could do this. We're the people that can do these kind of books, so why not? Like, that was the motivation that I needed. I think it was like the next day or two after that, I was contacting Arcadia to find out what the requirements are and what we had to do to get this book together. And
this is the first book for the two of you guys?
Yeah.
So new authors, first time you ever write a book. I find it funny on the network. I've had a couple different authors over the last couple of months who were either first time authors or authors that were encouraging people to get into writing and start, getting their ideas down on paper. How daunting was it? Two guys here in the south suburbs going out into Lemont, putting all this together. But how daunting is it to say we're going to write a book, but then you got to figure out publishing, where you're going to get all the information from, how you're going to work it all out together. Was it something that felt overwhelming?
Luckily, Arcadia Press, the publisher, Images of America is a classic series. There's hundreds, probably thousands of them. And one of the things about, we could write this book is wait, Woodridge has a book. Romeoville has a book. Why doesn't Lemont have a book? So, Kevin put together the application. You apply to Arcadia. They see if it's a gap in their collection. And
so if you're a town, if you're a village, if you're an area that is not included in this series,
Blue Island,
and somebody wants to write a book about it, they'll give you a shot, is what you're saying.
They had a couple of requirements about how many photos you had access to and making sure that they were, original copies of your photos. But once you can confirm that you had the requirements of what they needed, they seemed pretty okay with it. I mean, they approved us pretty fast with getting this ready to go. And
they did. I think we signed the contract with them in January. You start off by sending images, scans. You make sure, they give you all the parameters. They say, okay, each caption is 50 to 70 words. Each chapter begins on an odd page, and your chapter starts with 350 words. So having some constraints in some ways helped make it easier to write. Sometimes it made it more difficult too, You had to chop it down a lot that you wanted to say.
Every time we wanted to eat up 12 words of crediting MWRD.
So there's there's a formula then.
It's a
They're saying,
formula.
okay, here's
Yes.
a section, say something about the section, put your pictures in, caption the pictures, this is what we expect, this is where it ends up inside of the thing, and then you got to be selective about your pictures. So where do you gather the pictures? Because I imagine that both of you had access to historical pictures based upon the things that I've learned about the two of you over your time where you popped in on Southside Pod. You guys kind of hunt these things down. And you, of course, Jason, you have probably the ability to knock on the door of the Lemont Historical Society because you work for Lemont and say, hey, get me some pictures. I'm writing a book.
That's exactly what I did. On the front of the book, it says, in association with the Lemont Area Historical Society, we think of them as an author of this book. And this book, actually, all the proceeds from the book go back to the Historical Society.
You guys aren't making any money?
Not anything.
Really?
Nothing.
No.
That's a shame.
All the royalties.
Pollyanna Brewery should give you some beer or something, right? You gotta come.
Well, you should repeat that clearly and a second time.
Well, it's wonderful that this is going to be, a fundraiser for the Historical Society. And almost all pictures in this book come from their collection. It also helped us create a framework for it. So if somebody says, why wasn't I in the book? I could say, we didn't find your picture in the Historical Society.
I'm telling you right now, if I was making a book like this, I'd be walking around saying, how do I get like restaurants I like to eat in and places
You have an author's discount.
places I like to hang out? How do I get them in the book so I can get a perk later on because I put them in the book?
I don't know if I should mention this.
Did you figure that out at some point,
no,
Jason?
no,
Did you
it's
start,
not related
did you start
to that.
listing
No,
places
no,
out?
no,
Like,
no.
if I could get a picture of such and such in, it's a free steak for me. Did you start figuring that out or no?
I do have two personal things in the book. I turned to page 10.
Oh, really?
There's a map, and
Oh,
Blue
look at
Island is listed on that map.
So we have 4 different maps that we had commissioned for this book, and they look beautiful. They're such a highlight of this book is seeing unique maps that haven't been seen before.
Is that what this map is signifying? That at some point everything was underwater, but there was an island, and it's named Blue Island, and that's where that comes from?
Yeah, the rest of Blue Island was surrounded by Lake Chicago, was held in place by glaciers. So when you're out in like the Palos Preserves and Palos Township, Lemont Township, that's the edge of the glaciers. Oh man, we could get nerdy.
I'm already nerding out on it because you have these two. You have the river, right? You got Lemont. Looks like, it makes sense why it's called Lemont because of the way that the landscape is formed.
Yes.
All right. You've got and then you've got just this lake that sits out there, and then you have this thing called Blue Island. And I'm like, this is where this eventually becomes Blue Island.
It does, yeah.
So it really was an island.
Yeah.
A long time
Stony
ago.
Island, Mount Forest Island.
Crazy.
You see all these places that have islands in the name, and there's a reason for
Mount
it.
Forest Island is where St. James at Sag or Monk's Castle is at. And the reason Lemont is so well known for its limestone and its quarries is because as the glacial lake was cutting through, forming the Des Plaines River Valley, it basically eroded all of the glacial drift down to bedrock. So when they came in to build the I&M Canal, bedrock was basically at grade level,
Right.
and they discovered quarries.
You guys both come from a little bit of a different background. Kevin has been doing this thing where he's jumping around and he's taking pictures of buildings in their current state. How many of the old pictures were you able to find a companion picture where you're like, oh, that place still exists? And were you tempted a lot to like try to put like this is what it looks now in the book?
We were certainly limited on being able to use current photos. I've certainly noticed from taking photos on my own, like, oh yeah, that building looks the exact same. Or very few alterations have been done to these buildings in the last 50, 100, 150 years. Some of them look almost identical to what they would have been mid-19th century.
Do you guys think that at some point now that this book will get out, you're going to have some people like saying, that's my grandpa in the book. That's so-and-so in the book. Like you're going to get people that are
We
going to sit there.
consulted those people to make this book.
Yeah. So you did. You found people that, the older people that are living in the area that were able to hand over their personal photos as well.
A few. Again, we didn't want to go crazy with the personal photos. Just it would be a lot of logistics. And again, sticking with the Historical Society, this book also celebrates their archive. But past board member and volunteer, Barb Bannon, she had 2 pictures that she said, she came to us with, and she's like, I really think you would be interested in these. And I was like, yeah. So we did.
Yeah, we found a way to make those photos work. They were included for sure.
But yeah, Kevin mentioned to me, what is it? Chicago Heights already did a revisited book. So there's always an opportunity for Lemont Part 2.
Oh, you're already trying to figure out how to make your second one? You guys
We've
are
already
great.
had like book 2 and 3 in mind before this was even approved. Are you kidding? Yeah, like we're already thinking long term.
How do people pick up the book? How do they get it?
Jason just made some deliveries earlier today.
You're just dropping them off at people's houses? You're giving out your cell phone number?
I dropped one off at your house.
Call Jason on his phone and he'll run over to you. Yeah.
We'd be happy to. No, there are a few places that'll be available in Lemont, in the downtown, Ike Sports, at 3 Stories Books, at Mabel's Market, Smoky Row Antiques, and Pollyanna Brewing.
It
will also
you
be
got the book in Pollyanna Brewing.
We also have it available at the Lemont Area Historical Society. We have a launch event on the 17th at the library. So we'll be there along with our collaborator, Pat Camilleri, who did the foreword for us, signing books and talking about the process.
That's a cool event too. Like we got to highlight where the money's going for that event. Like that is a unique event for us because the the book sales that we generate from that night, 50-50 split. It's half to the Historical Society that night and half to Friends of the Lemont Library. So we're excited to make sure that
Zero
we
to
can
you
contribute
guys.
to it. Yeah,
Absolutely
zero.
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, they got to get you something. Somebody's got to give you something.
We got bookmarks.
Somebody get these guys a steak dinner and a couple of 6-packs.
We do have an event coming up at Pollyanna Social too. I think it's November 28th.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the history of what was called Smoky Row. So that was the vice district in Lemont in the 19th century. And then also pair up what they're doing with spirits with some of the immigration that happened over the course of the 19th century in Lemont. So we'll be talking about the Irish arrival and drinking some Pollyanna whiskey. We'll be talking about the Polish arrival and drinking Pollyanna vodka.
That's
the
cool.
Swedish arrival and drinking their version of Malort called Dead. So that'll be, you'll get a pint of Lemont 150 and I think a light thinking as well. So that's the 28th. So
I've
already marked it down. Marked it down.
That's going to be a really cool
It's in
event.
my
history
drinking
event.
calendar. I'll put it down there.
On 30th.
I've only had one Lemont 150 lager. And I'm already getting my dates wrong.
He's at a half of 150, so he's at 75.
Okay. All right. On the 30th is the thing at Pollyanna. The book can be picked up at all kinds of places, including Pollyanna and Lemont. Okay. Jason will run over to your house if you really need him to. And seriously, it's a cool looking book. It's definitely something that if you're interested in the area that you'd want to check out. And guys, I appreciate you bringing it by and let me take a look at it. And hopefully you get a lot of sales off of it. I think it's cool that 2 guys that never put a book together found each other and put a book together about their town.
Thanks. We think it's cool.
I'm excited to have my neighbors find out about this. Like,
And now you're an accomplished author. And you got to say that. Now you get to use that too, right? You get to throw that about. What do you do for a living? I'm an author.
just add that on the business card.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the South Side! It's the South Side! It's the South Side Pod! Thanks for listening! Thanks for tuning in to the South Side Pod! Y'all come back now, you hear?